Well, this is it. 5 or 6 more footsteps and I'm off the trail. Amazing. Here we go. Six days ago I stepped out of civilization and onto the trail. I didn't fully know what to expect. I knew it was going to be an adventure. I knew that it was going to be extremely demanding. But I also knew that I was going into uncharted territory in terms of the number of days on a very difficult trail. The OTHT is very demanding, but it gives back so much. This trail is more than just a point A to point B. It's more like a well thought out guide to show you the land. Almost a rite of passage. Stage after stage you pass is a new experience and you gain a deeper connection with the land. Come along with me on this journey of discovery on the OTHT. Just got dropped off at the Rabbit Lake access point near Grand Campment for my third trip out and the trip that I'm hoping to complete the rest of the trail north. I'm going to be doing somewhere between 90 and 100 kilometers altogether over the next 6 days or so, maybe 5. And that includes all the various side trails and one of the reasons too is I need to head south initially to tag up with Not a Creek / Cascade. Where my son and I left off when we were heading from the southern terminus, or more from McLaren from that last trip. And then I'll head back north, stay at Grand Campment, and then continue up the trail all the way back up to Latchford where I left my car. I just had a shuttle down to here and going to be heading out onto the trail. First challenge of the day, about 10-15 minutes in here, is I think this is a Wayne Creek. I gotta cross. Get to the other side over there, over top of an old beaver dam, so obviously feet are going to be getting wet right away here. Managed to only get up to about my lower shin, so not too bad at all. That'll dry out pretty quick. Beautiful little area here. I'm on the main trail now, heading south to tag up to Not a Creek junction. Did mention the weather is going to be really nice for these 6 days. No rain in the forecast, so really happy to get this good weather for all the lookouts. Not the safest thing to do to film going up these scrambly sections, but it's better than setting up the camera on a tripod and then having to go back down to retrieve the camera. Wow, I just put the camera down and I heard something and looked across the way here and just saw something big and black. I was sure it was a bear, but I looked at it closely and big bull moose with big horns on it. So talked to it for a minute. I wouldn't have been able to film it. You probably wouldn't see it on the camera. Then he decided to take off, and then behind him there was 2 more, I guess, calves or females, so you don't know the terminology. They went the other way. So they split up, and now I'm hearing the big guy wrap around to get over to where they are. That was amazing. So probably about 60 feet away through the trees. So it's, I think that's about the closest I've got to one. Back north we go. Some of my favorite sections are still these moss covered areas with the tight twisty paths. If you're planning your itinerary and hoping to stay at the Wayne Creek campsite that's on the main trail, I haven't been able to find it. I've looked around quite a bit and had the GPS on. It's probably in there somewhere, and maybe I missed the marking when I was going south, and also when I was going southeast, and also when I'm going north here. So I don't know where it is. It's in there somewhere, maybe. I haven't really recorded much the last several hours. I'm approaching Grand Campment to decide which one of the campsites I want to camp at. It's not as much fun doing a yo-yo on the same day as it is doing it on, doing a return on the day after or a couple of days later. Doing it on one day is kind of, I don't know, monotonous. And I'm actually quite spent. It's been about 15 kilometers a day so far, and I always find the first day a little bit more difficult than the rest of the days for some reason, even if it was just a 2-hour drive to get here from Latchford. Anyway, we'll see what the campsite's like and pick one and set up for the night. This is the Grand Campment interior campsite. Quite nice. I haven't scoped it out yet to see where the best tent spots are. I think there's a few over there. Continue on, look at the beach and at the point, and I'll choose which of the three to stay at. This is the Grand Campment beach site. The water level is too high for there to be any beach right now. Unfortunately, with a trekking pole tent, I don't think I could really set up here. So I'm going to keep going around over to that point over there and hope that nobody's there, and that'll be my camp for the night. A fun slippery log to come across here. Thankfully, these trees that have fallen down above provide a bit of a handrail when you're on the most slippery part of it. Wouldn't have been that deep to ford, but I don't get my feet wet that close to being camp time. This is Grand Campment Point. I'm going to make this home for the night. Looks like it's going to have some nice views. Very nice. Little table over here. And it's actually a nice tent spot right there too. Right on. Got home, set up for the night. Nice spot. Gonna cook some dinner and just relax, and not gonna record anymore. I'll check in with you in the morning. Morning. It's about 8:45. I've been slowly getting ready here, packing up. I hurt my back the day before I left, and it hasn't been too bad, but it just makes things a little bit stiff and slow to move around. It's a little bit tight. Beautiful morning here. It's about 3 or 4 degrees. I think it got maybe to 1 or 2 last night. Wasn't too cold or anything. I had to put my puffy on at one point. Just because when you move around with a quilt, sometimes you lift an edge a little bit and let some drafts in. But anyway, nice night, really sunny here. Once the sun came up, it feels so refreshing. So, gonna continue on north here, and we'll check in later. Today is Friday the 30th of September, and it's the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. So it's fitting to be out here in the lands and appreciating them with the indigenous people, of course, being tied so tightly to the land. It's just amazing to think for thousands of years they were living in these areas. The Ottawa Valley, Ottawa Temiskaming was key to a lot of native clans and so on, apparently. And I'm sure some of these trails were certainly walked at times. Yeah, it's just an appreciation for the way of life that they had before colonization and so on. And it's a bit of a shame, of course, but what we can do is appreciate it and acknowledge what's happened in the past. Most of this first 45 minutes or so north of Grand Encampment Point Campsite has been along a lower ridge. There's a high ridge and some valleys above. It's been a really nice walk. Lots of undulations and glacial boulders. Very pleasant. And of course, occasional view here as well. At Owl Creek, this isn't the actual camp, it's a secondary camp. Main camp is straight ahead, and there's all these remnants of the bed frame there. Remnants of an old cabin here. So there's a sink, bed, mattress, wires, furnace, a fridge that I guess they were just using as an ice box. I don't see the foundation for where the cabin would have been, but there's some glass back there, so I'm guessing it's back here somewhere. I wonder how long ago that was. This is Owl Creek campsite, and it is one nice campsite. That must be all the wood from that, maybe, from the old cabin. Brand new table over there that Marie made. Lots of tent spots by the looks of things. Be warned. Nagle Bay. Nagle Bay looks like a nice campsite. Tent spot over there, I think. Another one here, a little uneven, but it will do. Lots of wood. And this looks like a perfect spot for a lunch break. That first kilometer and a bit going north after Nagle Bay was probably the most strenuous section of the trail so far. It was about 580 feet elevation gain and a couple of flat spots, but pretty relentless in terms of uphill. So be warned, going south after Nagle Bay there's quite a hill too, but I don't think it was anywhere near this duration. Fun stuff. This section approaching Fall Creek is different from anywhere else on the trail so far, I think because we're right at a peak. Types of vegetation, this overall feel of the trail is very different here. Of course, there's lots of blowdown that needed to be cleaned up. Being at the very top here. This is the Fall Creek campsite, or camp. I think I'm going to end up staying here because it looks like a nice spot. And if I keep going on to Fern Creek and I don't like it, I'll be really disappointed. And the next one isn't for quite a ways, so I think I'm likely going to stay here. Right before it gets too dark, I thought I would go over the map. So my first hike was the bottom two sections, and some YouTube videos for those. I went from Thorne to here, Opimika Creek, and then back to Thorne where my car parked. Second trip with my son, parked here at Barry's Bay, at Opimika Creek bridge actually. Went up here, right up to Nota Creek, aka Cascade, and then came all the way back here. Sorry to hear. And this time I came in Rabbit Lake Road here, and I had to go down south several hours to tag up with where we got to at Nota Creek, and then went all the way back up, and I'll go over that now. So the plan is over the next 5 days, 4 days now, complete the rest of the trail right to Latchford, through all these sections that I haven't done yet, and I've got my car parked up in Latchford. So I got dropped off here, followed this trail. There was a beaver dam crossing somewhere in here. Came over here, and then because I was heading south, I actually bushwhacked across here to save having to do this up since I was just going south. Okay, then I continued on down here. Couldn't find the Wayne Creek campsite as I pointed out. Continued down to Cascade, aka Nota Creek, and tagged up the sign, and then came all the way back up here. Checked out Grand Campment interior and the beach, and I decided just to continue on here and stayed at Grand Campment Bay for night number 1. So that was about almost 17 kilometers. I say almost because my GPS was showing 16 and a bit for the day, but every time I press stop, when I stopped for a rest or something, I sometimes forget to press start, and I forgot to press start several times. So there's more mileage there for sure. At least half an hour to 45 minutes walking that I didn't capture. Alright, so this morning, got up, packed up, came up here from Grand Campment Point, Owl Creek. That was a nice campsite. That was the one with the warnings about the mice. Came up here and down Nego Bay. That was a point, they call that the perch, where I walked out on that little ledge out there, and it's pretty scary because I didn't show it, but that whole section that you're standing on is cracked off, and there's a crevasse, very deep crevasse surrounding it, and it just feels like it's gonna tip over under your feet. Nego Bay, stopped there, had a nice lunch, and then continued on this. You can see the lines here. This was quite a brutal uphill all the way through here. Continued on, and here we are at Fall Creek. There's another campsite about half a kilometer in called Evergreen, but this site is perfect. I'm just going to stay here, and this will be for the night. I think one of the most rewarding times of hiking is lying down in a tent when all your chores are done, just relaxing, letting your body rest and listening to the sounds, listening to some music. So I'm going to stay up for a little bit longer, just rest and wait till it gets dark and see when it doze off. So we'll check in the morning. It was only 12 kilometers today, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned when I looked at the map, but it still wore me out. Alright, talk soon. It's about 8:30. I've been on the trail, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. Cloudy this morning. It's about 5 degrees, I think. We're not getting the sun, but look at these beautiful forests in here. A couple more weeks, this would even be more colorful. But it's a nice green hue in here. A lot less coniferous trees in this section. A lot of the recent sections compared to the ones further to the south. So plan today is to hike on to Copper Lake. I think it's about 13 kilometers or something, I'm not sure. So continue on here and see what the day is going to bring. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Look at this view. This is Fern Creek Camp. Lots of leaves have been falling. Nice little spot. Improvised table, a little saw. Fire ring. Really nice bench. Creek right beside. And this looks like a really nice flat area, relatively flat area for a tent right here. It's a windy one. Wouldn't want to be out in a canoe in that today. This is the Aaron Creek South site. It's very well equipped. Picnic table. Very nice bench chairs. Fire pit. A few site spots around too. Quite a large site. And of course you're right in the bay here. I'm probably going to stop here for lunch. Wow, so I'm sitting here getting my lunch going and I'm hearing a eagle make its noise, chirping noise up above here, and I couldn't see it. I was continuing on my way and I hear this big whoosh right behind me here. And this massive eagle, just huge, swooped down in the water, grabbed a big fish, and it continued on. I have to look up what it was. It had a big white tail on it. I don't know my eagles, but it was massive. I don't know what the wingspan would have been on it, but it was wider than this table probably. Anyway, very, very cool site. It made my day so far. This is the Aaron Creek North site. It's literally just right across the creek from the south one. it gets as much use as the other one. Except by hobbits. Here comes the sun. Yay. Well, this is something completely different for this trail. I guess this is what they meant by the waiting section. Let's see what it is right now. So far, so good. There's some game trails in here. This little area. Aside from the hydro line, there hasn't really been any open areas like this on all this trail to the south anyway. Still dry. I'm jinxing myself, but it's still dry. Oh, it's starting to get wet. Thank you guys for making this. That made it a little bit easier. Several minutes since I did that little crossing here, and I haven't been able to leave. I'm just kind of struck with the awe of the area, the isolation, beautiful maple trees interrupting the line of the trees there with the beautiful colors. Completely surrounded by forest in the middle of nowhere. It's truly amazing. The trail from that bog up the hill was a very relentless steep hill, maybe worse than the hill coming north out of Nagle Bay. It was a tough one. Anyway, I'm going to continue down south here to this side trail. It's down a low down lake side trail, and there's a vulture view lookout that's quite recommended, so I'm going to check that out. It's only a couple hundred meters south from the main trail here, and then I'm going to keep on going, and apparently another 2.8 kilometers to Copper Lake. To give you an idea of the climb I was just telling you about, way down there is the marsh where I stood for quite a long time. See all the red maples lining it there? That's a long ways up. Beautiful view up here. It's beautiful. It's one thing I did notice, because I didn't come a lot further down the lookout, is see Lake Temiskaming over there. Way over there, so quite a ways away now after, you know, all these kilometers of the trail so far, being quite close to it. We're moving inland now. Last clip from here, I promise. I just noticed that center view here is probably that other rock, bare rock area that you would have seen a few minutes ago on the video. Amazing we've come that far in just such a short amount of time. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh man, I am so happy. Copper Lake. Look at this. Copper Lake campsite. Even an old canoe here. Look at this spot. Spot there for a tent. Lots of wood if I decided to have a fire. And you know what? The sun is gonna set right across this lake. What a beautiful evening this is going to be. And I don't care how cold that water is. I don't care if it's only about 10 or 11 degrees. I'm going to go for a swim. What an outstanding day. Between all the lookouts and that marsh, now getting to this campsite. I'll admit I didn't dive in the water, but I did get wet head to toe, and feel much cleaner now, and everything is airing out, and this is just, I couldn't ask for anything better in terms of a campsite. So today was about 13.5 kilometers, about 1,600 feet of ascent. A lot of the trail was super easy after what was it, Aaron's Creek. A lot of it was. But there were some really steep parts too, obviously, if we did 1,600 feet still and all that. But man, those lookouts. The ones along the Lake Temiskaming there. That perch that I climbed out on, it was super, super scary. But amazing. I couldn't resist. Just incredible views. And then of course the vulture's view was phenomenal as well, looking back towards the marsh there. Very enjoyable day. And you know what, I think it's only about 4:30 or so, so I still have more time, and as I mentioned, the sun's going to set right across the river, the lake here, so I'm going to maximize daylight today, and I'm going to make the most of it and enjoy it. No rush to get anything done here, just going to relax. Very rewarding day. Alright, let's do a quick recap of today. So we started at the Fall Creek campsite, really nice campsite. I never did take the walk back here to check out Evergreen Pond. Yes, I'm using a pine needle to show you where I am. Anyway, went along here. It was a nice hike, especially the two lookouts right here. There were views down the lake. The second one, as you saw, was at more of a perch than the one before Nagle Bay. But it was just an amazing view down the lake here and across. Continued down here, Fern Creek, then all the way along Fern, I guess it wouldn't be Fern Creek, but there's another creek that you're following along here that's all rocky for a good section of this trail. It was really nice. Continued on, all the way up to Aaron's Creek North. Checked out that site, and actually that's where I ate, and the eagle came swooping down. Still need to look up what that was. Oh, by the way, this is the first campsite with pretty much no cellular connection. I get one bar here and there, but as you can expect, we're heading into the interior now, so that's going to happen. Continuing on here, I didn't stop to take a look at this site. I don't even remember seeing a sign to that. Continue down. This, look out here. This is where the meadow was, the bog. Looks like there would have been a detour available there. I'm gonna have to ask about that. Anyway, there was a lookout on this side that was nice. You saw that. I took a video, first person of that, and then continued across. And this is the vultures. I don't know which one I got down to here. Maybe the second one. Looks like there was a couple more. And that was an amazing view back to the meadow here and to the cliffs where we came across. Felt like just half an hour earlier, but really was obviously longer than that. The hill up here was really, really nasty. And by the way, very, very easy trail all the way through here for the most part. It gets a little bit steeper and stuff, and there's little sections, but this is probably the flattest, most even ground as any other part of the trail we've experienced so far. Going this way there, though, if you're going south, this would be quite a hill going up here, because it was quite a descent to get down to the campsite. All right, visited the lookout, came up here, and came across this little. There's a beaver dam that's actually, I think, created most of this lake, and there was this rock garden that you saw, really incredible. And here we are at Copper Lake. Sun is just setting here across the lake. I'm going to finish getting organized here and go relax in the tent. So I will check in with you tomorrow. Good morning. It's about 8:15. Got up before sunrise this morning and did a lot of the intent chores in the dark so I can get an earlier start. Today's going to be a longer day, possibly one of the longest days of the 6. For a couple of reasons. One is there's a trail clearing crew ahead, and they'll be staying at one of the 2 sites that I was targeting for today. If they're not at the near one, I'll park there, and that'll still make for I think about a 15-kilometer day. If they're at that one, I'm gonna have to go. I think it is another 4.6 kilometers or so to Snort Lake, which will make for an extra long day. So just play it by ear and see what happens. Bit of a health and equipment check. I've been feeling better every morning consecutively here. I've had a few ankle problems that I didn't mention. It started with the last hike out here, and it was bothersome on day 1 and a little bit on day 2, and then yesterday I hardly felt it at all, so that's getting better. My back's getting less stiff, and generally I feel quite good. Equipment wise, got a couple of things going on. One, you probably noticed that I often dry my previous day's pair of socks after washing them on the back of the pack. I'm always careful to keep checking them as I go, make sure they're still there. And somewhere along the way yesterday, I dropped one of my darn tough socks, and you know how expensive those are. That's a bit of a drag. Oh yeah, the most significant. I got a hole in my sleeping pad. No idea how. I think it was around midnight. I noticed the pad was getting flat because, of course, you start to get cold with the ground soak. So I was dumbfounded. I blew it up, and less than an hour later, it was quite low in air again. So, not too sure how I'm going to deal with that on the trail. Kind of need a bathtub to put in and watch for bubbles. I don't know if I can really do that at a lake, but we'll see. Otherwise, the next few nights I'm just going to be having to wake up every hour to blow it up. which is okay. Anyway, I'm gonna continue on. Enough blabbing. In that first 40 minutes or so coming north out of Copper Lake camp, there's about 600 feet of ascent, very steep climbing. So it seems a lot of the camps always reward you with a very challenging start to your day. By the way, if anybody happens to find my sock, let me know and just leave a comment or send me a message or whatever, and we'll arrange to ship it, or I'll even ship you my extra one, because you know what? One sock out of a $30 pair isn't a $15 sock, it's a useless sock, so I'd really appreciate that. So one thing that's been quite constant through these, this is now my 11th day on trail in total, in terms of all my trips from Thorne up. One constant has been Lake Temiskaming over your right shoulder, or left when I was doing the southbound portions. And it's kind of sentimental, I guess, but it's kind of weird to think that soon we won't have sight of that anymore. I'm going to be heading inland. I wonder if we'll get a view down. Oh man, look at that. You've come from way, way, way beyond that too over these days. Anyway, it's been a good companion. The east view from up here is quite similar to the lower view we had just higher up. So beautiful. Fortunately, I don't think you're going to see the level of detail that I can see here in person. So now we're on the other side, looking at a power station. Not sure if you'll be able to make it out. Lower body of water is Matawachin coming down to the Lake Temiskaming. And the upper body of water there is the reservoir. Nice view from up here. Pretty high up. Got the remnants of an old lumber slide or sleuth or whatever they call it. Cool. So I'm about 11 days. I'm into my 11th day. Oh, fog. 11th day on the trail altogether between the 3 trips. And I finally saw the first people on trail. A few day hikers, a couple. Weird civilization. Actually doing a road walk. Beautiful day. Since this little river here did a 90 degrees left, it's just been phenomenal. These steps and glacial formations with scratches in them, glacial boulders in very unusual positions like this one. The trail's pretty rough, but it's rewarding to see all these sights whenever you get a view of it. By rough, I don't mean in poor condition, I just mean it's a rough trail. A little sample here. So this whole creek that we've been following here is from the dam. It's a spillway for the dam. So I imagine before the dam was here, this was actually quite a raging stream, or maybe even a river, who knows. It's clearly had a lot of erosion. Really interesting. One of the most amazing things about this walk today and yesterday is the opportunity to get up on these lookouts and look at where you were earlier in the day. So over to the left here, that's the main dam, the spillway that we were just walking along for the longest way. And then over here is some more of the dam hydro station infrastructure, and that big mound there, that's Beaver Mountain that we climbed earlier. Yeah, it's pretty tall. And this is Four Bass Lake. Nice looking lake. Now that we've gone further down the ridge here, you can see Lake Temiskaming in the background there. So I thought I saw the last of it, but I guess not. You do so many of these bridge walks above lakes that you sadly start to almost become a little bit complacent in terms of how beautiful it is. So on the way down to Guri Lake, I'm spent. It's been 12.2 kilometers, and I'm pretty tired. It's been a long day so far. This is Guri Lake. A little bit back behind me there was a marked spot for tents. It's probably the best spot, but just here a little bit, might be another one up there. And a very rustic looking picnic table. Good spot for break and to get a lot of water in me. I could be filming way more than I am. There's all kinds of these rock face crossings here with this really gray stone. It's amazing. A whole bunch of them. But I can't just keep taking out the camera to talk to you guys, because I might run out of daylight today, depending on where the trail crews are camped. So yet again, something new on this trail to see. Look at these colors. Thanks, volunteers. You guys are awesome. This is a little mountain lake campsite. The trail crews aren't here, so I'm going to stop here for the night. The sign has a bunch of suggestions for where to set up tents, and several of them are further down the path towards the main trail, just up from this area. Beautiful spot, man. Wow. Wow. I'm blessed to be able to call this home for tonight. Sitting down before I set up camp and had a look at my stats on the GPS and so on. So it was just shy of 19 kilometers and 2,800 feet ascent and 34,000 steps according to my phone. So it's a long day for this trail, and it's going to take a long time to absorb everything that I saw today, and I'm going to continue to see for the next several hours. Sunset again is going to be over the water here from this beautiful spot here. I'm going to take a view of it. Yeah, just gorgeous. Alright, so we'll do a regular review of the day. So we started out at Copper Lake Camp right there, and boy, today's a whole big blur. Continued on along here, lots of really nice lookouts here. Looking back over the water down the Temiskaming, Lake Temiskaming. Went up to Beaver Mountain here. That added about 30 minutes hike. And it was quite a big hill up there, and the lookouts frankly weren't that good, but what was amazing was later on, when we were way over here at these amazing lookouts, we were able to look across to where we were at the top of Beaver Mountain just several hours earlier. So that was quite astonishing just to see how far I've actually gone that day. Anyway, continued on here. Really interesting going by the dam and the infrastructure, seeing how that works a little bit. And continued on. This was amazing. So this was all through the spill off of the dam, this whole area here. And well, you saw the video. Just amazing, especially this section right here with the falls and the large open area of stone. Came across here again. These lookouts were just outstanding to look across to where I had been. Went by Forbass. I did not go down to check out the campsite. I was already too tired. Continued on here. Took a break at Gory Lake. I actually had my lunch way back here, by the way, somewhere. I think right around here. Anyway. Stopped, had a break at Gory Lake, and continue on here. I had 4.6 here between Fairbass and Gory, and I think that was actually the right one based on what I remember from the signage. And to do 19K today, I think it is the higher number. To look at the planner again. Went by Gory Lake, and this was a beautiful walk here. Neat open stone areas, and then almost all of this was really nice maple groves with all the red and orange and yellow leaves falling on the ground. And it wasn't too hilly either, this section, so it was nice. It was easy to make up a little bit of time here. Got here, and this is the campsite for tonight, and it is amazing. Alright, I'm just getting ready to have my, what am I having here? Chili mac and beef dinner and some desserts, and then I'm going to enjoy a little bit more of the sunset here and maybe take a couple pictures, but that'll be it for recording. So unless something magic or tragic happens, I'll see you on the morrow. There's a couple of things swimming towards me here, and I'm trying to be very still. Muskrats. Well, good morning. Saying goodbye to Little Mountain Campsite. It was a beautiful one. It's about 8:15. I can hear the chainsaws several kilometers away, so Marie and the Fall Trail cleanup crew are already up and at it. I've been up for a couple hours, and I'm only ready now to hit the trail. I'm really going slow. It's a beautiful morning. It's very cold. It's frosty. There's frost on doing all the plants. It was a cold evening, and last night I forgot to mention I was able to find the hole in my sleeping pad and patch it up. But I think I got another one, or missed one. Maybe there was more than one. I got another one last night. Anyway, I'll see if I can look for a leak again later on. For now, I'm moving on. I don't know what campsite I'm going to stay at tonight. I'm going to just play it by ear. It could be Rib Lake, it could be South Roosevelt, it could be Bryan Lake. One of those ones up there, about 15 kilometers or so. There's my campsite, or at least the eating area. And starting the day here with the beaver dam crossing. When are you going to fly away? How close can I get before you fly away? Thank you. You're beautiful. Hi Karen, nice to meet you. Alright, safety first, you're going away.
Thank you for being patient.
Oh, no worries.
Now you can stop and have a...
So, some members of the trail crew. Very nice people. And this is the section that they were coming down, the safety rope to help out. I'm not going to film myself doing that because I don't want to come back down again. Just ran into Murray and another volunteer, and I've forgotten his name already. So they were chainsawing and clearing trail and doing all the stuff that they do, and I was very thankful, and I really appreciate those volunteers. As I mentioned in another video, this isn't a park, this is ground land with arrangements with the Ministry of Natural Resources in Ontario, and it's all volunteers and donations that do all this great work out here. He was mentioning to me that, and I knew this, that a significant portion of the people that do this trail, a long distance portion of it, which is most commonly Rabbit Lake to Latchford, kind of like what I'm doing, except I added a whole bunch to go down south to Otter Creek. Anyway, the huge number of people who try that and don't make it, they need to call the shuttle to pick them up earlier, like Matabichuan, I've been pronouncing that wrong the whole time, or one of their access areas to bail out, and he says it's because of all the hills, and I agree with that. You have to be in really good shape for all the ups and downs here, and it's not like the elevation is huge, but it's hard elevation. Like, it's not a slopey climb, it's well, there is some of that, but there's a lot of very steep climbs. And I honestly would not suggest trying this trail unless you've got some really good conditioning and experience with your gear and things that can go wrong and that sort of thing. It's not an easy trail, but it's certainly rewarding when you're ready for it. Something I didn't mention, Murray Muir, mid-trail worker and a person who gave me the shuttle, and also one of the founding fathers, if you will, of the trail. He's up, I'm guessing, late 60s, because I think he said he was in his early 50s in the 2002 range or so. Anyway, he's a trail runner as well, and he's fast walked slash jogged slash trail ran the entire section from Grand Campment, where I spent my first night, to Latchford, where I'm going to be finishing at the end of this hike, continuously in about 19.5 hours, 19 point something hours. That's just incredible. I couldn't imagine doing everything I've done so far since my first camp night to the end, continuously overnight and everything. He's also this year, just this past year, so that was several years ago he did that. And this past season, this current season, he trail ran, fast walked the entire trail in 3-day hikes. I just couldn't even imagine. It's inspirational, that's for sure. Medic! Friday Lake campsite. Nice spot for camping. Also a nice spot for me to have lunch. Is there a more thorough way to unplug than this? Not only is it unplugging, it's a grounding. It's just you and the trail, connected to the land. No internet, no news, no work. It's just living. Just surviving. Dog's view of the world. Oh man, that is cool. This is what they call the sugar shack. That's pretty cool. It's a nice sunny walk along here. I think it's getting up to the mid-teens today. After a cold night, it's a nice treat. trail never stops delivering. Things are just a little bit different than things you've already seen. This is why they call it the crevasse. There's literally this massive crevasse all the way along the trail. What planet are we on? Oh, hi Karen, met your cousin back there. I don't know how well this is going to show up. It might be too dark down there. Cricket in October. That's a late cricket. This is reminding me of the ridge south of Grand Campment. That first section after Grand Campment where there's a few minor lookouts. It's very similar to this. Hey, little fella. This is the Bryan Lake campsite. Tent spot right here. There's some more up at the top of the hill. Very small seating area, cooking area here. Nice spot. Man, have I been lucky or what? Between the weather and these spots being available when I get here, it's amazing. So the sun's gonna be behind those trees pretty quick, and I gotta do some washing and other chores. So I'm gonna get moving here. Trying to stay the night. Oh, it's the last night. It's been one big epic journey. Feels like so long ago that it began. The amount of perseverance that's been needed to keep pushing. Today was over 20 kilometers. Here over 20 kilometers. I don't know how that happened. I have to look at the planner again. But that's what my GPS says. And it was easier miles than the sections to the south for the most part. No, not as many steep hills, but it was still grueling along with the cumulative fatigue that I have in my legs and everywhere. It was so rewarding. A lot of beautiful sights. Didn't have the incredible lookouts of the previous days, but you're still out here and surrounded by beauty and lots of very interesting terrain. So I don't think I'm going to film any more tonight. Maybe a couple of sunset shots, even though the sun is going to be opposite this shore behind me here. We'll see. Otherwise, we will see you in the morning on the last day. It's going to be a big day tomorrow to get back to the car. Hopefully the car's still there. We'll see about that. All right. Good night. Oh, good morning. The last sunrise here. we're so close to the end, you can hear noise from Highway 11 from here, unfortunately. So with that, thoughts of the outside world and work start to creep in. Try to suppress them because we still have a long day of hike ahead. And I've been reflecting about a lot of things over the last 5 days, just philosophically in terms of what I've experienced on the trail here. So before the outside world thoughts start to dominate and I forget all these things, I'm going to try to put some conclusion to some of the thoughts I've been having as I hike down the trail today. Off we go. I forgot to do the map review for the last 3 days of the hike, so through the magic of technology, I'm going to do that now. So the fourth night I stayed at Little Mountain and then headed up this way. And it was right before Price Lake that I ran into the first part of the trail maintenance crew, the fall maintenance crew, at that rope climb area. I missed this campsite totally after seeing them, so I didn't get to film that. Ran into Murray and Brian from the trail crew here, and then continued on. This is Snort Lake, the campsite they'd been working on and where they all had all their tents set up. Continued on all the way up here and to Friday Lake, and this is where I had lunch at the Friday Lake campsite. Nice spot. So after lunch I continued up the trail here, and this is where the Sugar Shack was, and then I took the crevasse trail. This was really cool, that crevasse all the way along here. You saw the footage of that. And came up here, did a little zig. I forgot to take a little detour to look at this little cabin here that I marked off. Continued up the trail and found my way to Bryan Lake, and that is where I stayed for the final night. So that fifth day that got me to Bryan Lake was actually just over 20 kilometers, so it was quite a long day distance-wise. But a lot of the trails were relatively easy. There were still a lot of challenging climbs, but a lot more open forest kind of walking. For the final day, we'll be heading out from Bryan Lake, past Roosevelt Lake South, up through here, past Rib Lake. Continuing up here, looks like there is going to be some climbing to do for the first part of the day. A number of elevation changes, and it seems to ease up a little bit. And then continue past Pondview, up here. Here, across Roosevelt Bush Road, and a number of lookouts up here apparently, and then to the trailhead, and then I have about a kilometer walk, I believe, from there up to my car in Latchford. So the total day should be between 15 and 16 kilometers. One thing I didn't show you is literally about 20 feet from my tent spot, there's a little cooking area there, is an old beaver lodge. I don't think it's been in use for some time, or they wouldn't have set up a camp right here. 6 days ago, I stepped out of civilization and onto the trail. Didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be an adventure. I knew it was going to be extremely demanding. I also knew we were going uncharted territory in terms of the number of days. This trail itself is just so demanding and just gives you back so much. But it's more than just a point A to B. It's like a well thought out guide. It's almost like a rite of passage. It's just like stage after stage that you pass and you experience, and you get a deeper and deeper connection with nature as you go. The trail really becomes everything. Unlike in normal life when you can just press pause or step away from a task, leave it for another day. When you're on a trail, it's the land. One foot in front of the other. In most cases, very consciously, due to the ruggedness of the trail. It's where you live. In this case, 6 days entirely outdoors, unless you call the tent indoors. So really, it's all about the land and connecting to it. You know when you go for a drive and a long drive and you stop and it feels like everything's still moving, like you're still on the highway? Because of the attention to detail, similarly, you have to pay on the trail here. You almost get that sensation too. So when you're lying there in a tent, you can see all the different colors and terrain and rocks and roots and hills passing by in your head. The trail changes you a little. Maybe it's different for every person. But it does a little bit of reprogramming or rewiring. Gathers together all the loose bits in your head, throws them up in the air, and lets the pieces land where they may. Guided by the land and your experience and connecting with it. It really is a beautiful thing. Here's an example of the guided tour. So just because the trail has to take you to this very top of this hill, which appears to be probably the highest around here. I found that you start to perceive the land as one large living thing. Trees, the bushes, the rocks, the roots, all the incredible formations, open glacial areas, glacial boulders. It just all feels alive, like one single thing. And you maybe just start to feel like you're part of it as you connect. This is Roosevelt Lake South Campsite. Quite sheltered in terms of not being able to have a view, but it's quite nice. Tables. You could probably get a view out on the rocks out there. A few tent spot areas in here too. So the trail, I guess like everything in life, you get out of it what you put in, and you experience it in your own way. But this trail itself, like it tests you. It tests you mentally. It certainly tests you physically. I gotta duck under a fallen birch tree here. Hands and knees. Certainly tests you physically and mentally, and it checks your resolve, your mental fortitude that you need to push on hill after hill, section after section. So you definitely have to have a determined spirit. One of the really nice lookouts, we're way up over the Ottawa, the Temiskaming, Lake Temiskaming, and I think it was the one where I walked up to and I said, "Oh wow!" And you could just look way down the lake. It's called a guided spirit lookout, and I don't know what the origin of that name is. I'm gonna have to ask and find out if that's a indigenous name for it, if someone else just thought it was suiting. It certainly is. It's almost like anybody who experiences that has an opportunity to grow. Till recently, I used to always wonder about these strange little pits that you see as you're going through forests. I learned recently, I mentioned this on one of my Frontenac videos. I forget what it's called, but basically a tree is overturned and the hole is where the root bulb was. And as the root bulb rotted, it creates the hill, which created a foundation and a mound for this little sapling to grow into a monster. So I don't know how old that is, but it makes you realize how old that must have been. Since I was little, I've always felt really comfortable in the woods. I was fortunate where I lived, there was a few forests around, and my parents were always taking us out on, I guess we used to call them nature walks on some of the local trails. Trails a little bit farther away as well. That's a shame. We're getting really close to the highway here now. That's a train. There's a train track nearby here. Easing me back into civilization. So the forest always feels like home. I guess that's the best way to put it. You know, I can walk into a grove of trees and just have this sense of belonging and feeling comfortable. And I think that's definitely a factor in me enjoying hiking so much, particularly on this trail, which is just purely magical. These gentle mossy areas are some of the things that stick to my head the most when I think of this trail. When it's sunny, it's kind of cloudy right now. When it's sunny, the green just glows. Yep, I'm going to put you down. This is pretty steep. Get a sense of some of the transitions within the trail. There's different types of sections that repeat in different orders with slight differences between them. This is the Rib Lake campground. Not actually right on the lake. There's a little creek beside here, and then there's a marshy end of the lake over there. Looks like this is what Murray was talking about. Somebody's incorrectly harvested birch off of some of these trees here and just ruined them. I thought that this trail was gonna ease me back into regular life, but man, we just passed 1,000 feet ascending for the day already, and it's only about 6 kilometers into the day. I thought it was going to be more like the forest walks that we've been having a lot more of, but it seems that the trail designers want you to get to the top of as many little hills and big hills as you can. And as you just saw, it's worth it for the views, but man, it's challenging right to the very end. As I reflect on this hike and the accomplishment of it, frankly, it's a momentous accomplishment in my life. Probably third behind making and helping raise my kids and the career I built. I think this is number 3 after those. And I'm not looking at it just, these 6 days. I'm looking at it end to end. My trip from Thorne to Opimika and back. And on that way back, I took the Porcupine Canyon. My second trip from Opimika Creek Bridge to Otter Creek and back with my son. And then this trip tagging up to Otter Creek and all the way back up to Latchford here. So it's the accumulation of all those things that are the accomplishment. It's quite something to do this trail end to end. I think this is one of the pond view campsites. There's the old pond down there. Small kitchen area and a fire. Probably a few tent spots here and there. It's kind of nice. A lot of road noise though still. In the spring this would be awesome. So I think this is it'll flow over like waterfalls. What will be waterfalls over that? It'd be beautiful. I think this is the Hearst Lake or Hearst Creek campsite. There's a side trail up here to get to a swim spot. More tenting areas here. So hopefully this is going to be near the end of my wrap up of my thoughts and observations over the last 6 days. So what does it all mean in the end? It's a shift of perspective, of course, and a grounding, a simplification of life to just the core elements, and of course a connection to nature through the medium of the trail, as I've been describing, trying to describe. On that, I don't think I've really, just like these videos aren't going to capture the beauty and the awesomeness of this trail, those simple words I put together aren't going to capture what I'm trying to say. You have to experience it. Anyway, long-term perspective shift, only time will tell, but I think there'll be a long-lasting appreciation. I'm in the last few kilometers here, and I've definitely slowed down quite a bit for a couple of reasons. One is I'm just spent and physically broken. Not complaining, it was all worth it. But also it's becoming increasingly melancholic that this is coming to an end within half an hour or so. By the time I get to my car, it'll be approximately 98 kilometers that I've walked from when I got dropped off at Rabbit Lake until I get back to my car in Latchford. I'm going to round up and call that 100 if you don't mind. Another walk along a cliff wall, because why not? This one's actually a little taller than most of the other ones. Incredible. Wow. Well, this is it. 5 or 6 more footsteps and I'm off the trail. It's amazing.